You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And welcome back. You are listening to Loudbeard Sports. I am your host, Loudbeard. And as always, I am with my co-host, DD. Hey, DD, how's it? Oh, never mind. DD totally abandoned me today and is not on the show. She is not going to safely drive me home from my destination like she normally does, and I am sad by that. But that's not going to stop me because, as always, I'm going to start out this show with a top 5. And that's right, this week is Super Bowl week, which I don't even know if I can mention that on radio because the NFL, they own everything. They have billions of dollars and they want to sue little guys like me, but I'm not going to let them do that. I'm going to keep saying it. And when they sue me, I'm going to get on my radio waves and tell all the people, all the real Americans out there, how terrible the NFL is. So I'm waiting for that to happen. But with it being Super Bowl week, I've got a good top 5, and that is top 5 reasons why Tawm Brady does not need another Super Bowl ring. Number 5, you already have a hot supermodel wife. Number 4, man's worth some money, rich. Number 3, doesn't he already have enough rings? Number 2, wasn't he on The Simpsons once? Number 1, I don't know, he's just Tom Brady and I don't want him to win, so number 1 is go Eagles. That's right, I'm a Redskins fan and I'm going to say it. Go Eagles. I am going for the Philadelphia Eagles this week. And one reason is that Tawm Brady does not deserve another Super Bowl. The dude has won too many, and he deserved all the other ones, but please, I can't take any more Tawm Brady. I can't take it. So that is my top 5 starting us out today. A lot of great stuff going on in the world of sports. I did go ahead and visit and watch the Pro Bowl that happened this past weekend, and that, it's a fun event. The NFL needs to have an all-star game. I don't think there's going to be any fixing it just because the NFL knows that they cannot get these guys hurt. They're just worth too much money. The players themselves, they're not going to let themselves get hurt. They know that they are worth too much money. They know what is at risk, what is at stake, and what they are not willing to give up for an exhibition game. But with all that being said, it's still a lot of fun. You get to go out. You watch some of the big-time pros out there doing their thing. At this particular Pro Bowl, you had an offensive MVP and a defensive MVP who helped change the game. On the offensive side, you had Delaney Walker, the dynamic tight end from the Tennessee Titans, who came out and really did a great job. 2 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown. And then as the NFC is driving back in the last few minutes, Von Miller does what Von Miller does, and that is he does a strip sack, stabs the ball away, does his signature move around the edge, basically makes Dwayne Brown, who is a Pro Bowler, look like a chump. And just had a little bit of entertaining sports to go along with it. The hoopla that goes with the Pro Bowl is good for the community here in Orlando. Loudbeard Sports is brought to you from the Central Florida area. Orlando is a great town. Not necessarily always the best sports town, but Loudbeard will make it a great sports town again, and I can promise you that. Loudbeard is dedicated to making sure Orlando will thrive as a sports town. But a lot of fun at the Pro Bowl. Got to see a lot of really great professional football players. Derek Carr, got to see him up close. Got to see Ryan Kerrigan, the super Pro Bowler from the Washington Redskins. The only Pro Bowler that played from the Washington Redskins. And that is my Washington Redskins. Don't confuse me with being an Eagles fan. I do like the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, but that does not mean I am a super fan. I am a super fan of the Washington Redskins. So, speaking of Orlando being a super football sports town, which it is not, it is about to become a super football sports town. That's right, because the great Vince McMahon is bringing the XFL back to Orlando. At least he's bringing it back in the year 2020. Vince McMahon this past week made a huge announcement letting the world know that the XFL is not dead. It only had one season the first time, but Vince looks like he is ready to change the fate of the XFL. He has taken a lot of the mistakes that they made the first time around, and he's examined those mistakes, and he knows that now he needs to make better decisions. He needs to recover from those mistakes that he made the first time and make this a league that is just an outstanding football product that he puts on the field. He wants to speed up play. I think we all want that. I think I've sat and watched a football game for 4 hours and said, man, that hour and a half worth of commercials was really worth my time. So Vince McMahon will do his best to speed up the play of game. He's also going to do a few other things like not have political protests. The NFL is under a ton of scrutiny this year for all the national anthem protests. And I'm not one here to decide, hey, who was right and who was wrong, but I know that the NFL is losing money because of lost revenue from people tuning out because of the NFL and their political stance. When I say losing money, not losing money, they've not made as much money. So instead of billions of dollars, it's just slightly less amount of billions of dollars. But still, any chunk of change that you take out of a person's pocket, whether it is the NFL, whether it is an owner, a Jerry Jones, or a Bob Kraft, these guys are not happy. So anytime somebody takes a little bit of that coin out of their pocket for these political stances, they are not happy. And now Vince McMahon's coming in saying, guess what? I'm going to put another football product on the field. After February, after the Super Bowl, there is a need for more football. People yearn for more football. So Vince McMahon wants to fill that void that is left after the Super Bowl. When the NFL says, that's it, we're hanging it up. Here we come with the XFL. And in the year 2020, I am believing that Vince McMahon will make the right choice and bring a team back to the City Beautiful. I officially am officially taking a stance and letting the world know that Orlando needs an XFL team. And I am going to spearhead this with my brethren over at Scout Team Sports. We are going to be the leaders in the clubhouse of who will be the next city for the XFL, Orlando. Hashtag it XFL 2020 RLANDO. We are in charge of that. So Scout Team Sports will take responsibility to be the official podcast of the XFL in Orlando. And we will officially be the voices of the XFL in Orlando. And I'm making that bold statement, and I'm making that announcement today, just like Vince McMahon made that announcement last week, because the XFL is needed in America. The XFL is something that is extremely important to the community here in Orlando. It's extremely important to the sports community who needs entertainment after the Super Bowl. And yes, I understand that there is March Madness. And yes, I get it that the NBA is going strong. But you all have to admit that when the summer comes, you feel like you're missing something. The long dredge of the MLB hits you in the summertime. If you're a diehard baseball fan, you will love it. But if you are not a diehard baseball fan, like many of us out there who are more diehard football fans or diehard basketball fans, you just want more. And the XFL is going to bring us more, and it's going to bring more to the City Beautiful, so I really appreciate that, and I appreciate what Vince McMahon is doing. He is really making himself relevant again after making the WWE into one of the greatest sports entertainment franchises in the entire world. He's going to do it again with the XFL. Speaking of the WWE, I'm not a big wrestling guy. I can appreciate it for what it is. I can appreciate it from afar, and I can appreciate it for the entertainment that it is. And I just wanted to say this past Royal Rumble Sunday brought back Ronda Rousey into sports entertainment. I love Rowdy Ronda Rousey. I think she has been one of the best UFC icons that has ever come out of the UFC. She has been in movies, she's been entertaining, and when she was on top of the world at the UFC, there was nobody that was more entertaining than she was. She was scary as hell, she was undefeated for a long-ass time, and she was unstoppable. And then her run, it came to an end. She ran into the buzzsaw that was Holly Holm, and then she tried to make a comeback, and it just didn't quite work out for her. She ended up with 3 losses and decided, you know what? Where else am I going to be appreciated? Where else will people love me? Where else will people watch me? And where else will my talents be used to the fullest? And that is right. Vince McMahon and the WWE, they stepped up to the plate. They came for what they knew was the rightful entertainment, sports, media darling. And that's right. That is Rowdy Ronda Rousey. The darling of the UFC is now in the WWE. And I could not be more happy for her because she is just unreal as far as entertainment goes. And, you know, the WWE, they also, for the first time, did an all-female Royal Rumble. I mean, they're just really changing the sport, and I think that's fantastic. And good for them at the WWE. Good for Vince McMahon. The guy's just killing it on all fronts. So let's keep that going. But I'm not a big wrestling guy, so I'm not going to go into that too much. We did talk a little bit about that Pro Bowl, right? You want me to talk about that more? Probably not. It does get good ratings. Everybody says it's garbage. Yeah, it's just an exhibition. Nobody's really tackling. Nobody's really doing anything that's like too spectacular. But, you know, we say that, but everybody's watching. It's getting better ratings than a lot of basketball games and big-time basketball games. People love the NFL. People love football. Even if they know it's an exhibition game, people are tuning in. So you can't say anything about that. It actually got 26% higher ratings this year than it did a year ago. So it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and that's bringing in money for the NFL. And you know what? Good for it. Let's keep that going. But the one thing the NFL did right this year, the one thing at the Pro Bowl that they did right that I can't say anything bad about, and that is after the first quarter of the Pro Bowl, they decided to do a little recognition for the national champion UCF Knights. That's right. We're here in Orlando. I am a UCF Knight alumni. So I'm going to wave the banner from the mountaintops, and I don't have any problem doing that. If you've seen me on Twitter at Kyle Scout Team, yeah, I'll go out there and I'm going to defend them till the end. But the fun part about this is that how far are we removed? I think it's like 28 days removed from the Peach Bowl. And what's happening out there? Everybody's still talking about UCF. The Pro Bowl, the NFL is recognizing UCF. Now, they didn't specifically say national champions, but every UCF player that was on that field was wearing a UCF national champion shirt because they knew that they were representing in front of the entire nation what they were, and that is champions. And a lot of Alabama fans, Alabama players, a lot of people from the state of Alabama, other SEC people from Auburn, they got a little salty. They wanted to put a little salt out there. They said, they're not real national champions. I got to hear this all over Twitter. You get to see it on Facebook posts. You see it everywhere. Guess what, guys? You're in the big SEC and you think you're big and bad and scary and all that. But you know what? You're just talking about us nonstop. You're feeding the fire. You're putting the fuel back on the fire where it belongs because the UCF fire is burning. It's burning so strong that all of America is taking notice that UCF is a team not to be messed with. And every one of those Alabama fans that gets on Twitter and gets on social media and says things, they're always like, who did UCF play? Well, UCF's got 4 wins against top 25 opponents. I don't know if you knew that, America. It's good information to know. So they played somebody's, just so you guys know out there. They did play somebody's. And one of them is Auburn. That's a somebody. And the other teams that they played, they beat all of them. Undefeated. Got to recognize a team that is worth what it is worth. And that is an undefeated team making it all the way through and showing that they are deserving of national championship, and the rest of the world just keep talking about it. Whether you love us or hate what's going on, just keep talking about it. One of my compadres over at Scout Team Sports, they call him the man with the golden mic. You can add him on Twitter at Max Scout Team. That gentleman, he's a friend, so I don't want to get too salty with him. But that gentleman, he is an FSU lover, and he hates what the UCF Knights are doing. He was texting earlier, letting me know how much he thinks it's bad for the program and it's going to blow up in our face and we're setting expectations too high. And I said, you are wrong, sir. Bring it on, America. Give us the hype that we deserve. We're getting hyped in 2018. UCF Knights are going to be killing it. All right, so I think I've gone on about the UCF Knights in the last 5 episodes, so I probably need to move on. We'll talk about a few other interesting sports notes and tidbits and whatnots that we've got going on. One, Australian Open, getting some tennis action in. The ageless wonder, Roger Federer, wins the Australian Open. Dude's old too, man. Just old as dirt and playing tennis. He is unbelievably awesome. He's unstoppable. He's going to do it forever. And good for him. Kudos. Congrats. Good job out there, Roger Federer. And then you got Caroline Wozniacki. She wins the women's side in the Australian Open. It's actually her first career Grand Slam. So she's been a great tennis player for a lot of years, but when you're going up against the likes of Serena, you sometimes have trouble winning the big ones, right? But when Serena gets pregnant, the door is wide open. That window of opportunity is wide open. And Caroline Wozniacki went ahead and captured that. It was awesome. All right, so a couple other all-star games going on. We talked about the Pro Bowl, but I didn't even talk any hockey. You got the NHL All-Star Game. And this one was actually a good one, right? We got Brick Besser, only rookie in the game. Now, he's from Vancouver. And what does he do? He wins the MVP. Okay, so that's a big deal. They do the skills contest, and he's got the most accurate shot. All right, that's pretty good. And he is the only rookie. So, man, this guy's killing it over there. It's nice to see really good young talent coming up through the ranks. And when you have a guy that is this talented, that is out there showing up all-stars, that's something to keep an eye on. That's something that we really want to watch. So, also, we have the NBA All-Star Game that's going to be coming up that I want to talk a little bit about. Now, the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL all have this same problem, and I guess Major League Baseball probably has it too, where the All-Star Game, they want to be a big deal, a big bonanza, if you would. And sometimes it just falls a little short, like the Pro Bowl. It's more of an exhibition. It's more two-hand touch than anything else. Guys aren't tackling hard. Nobody wants to get hurt. NBA the same way. It ends up being 188 to 164 because nobody plays defense. They're all just shooting the ball up like crazy. But Adam Silver, over at the NBA, he decided to change it up a little bit. He said, you know what? The winner gets 50,000, loser gets 25 right now in the current scheme. How can we change that? What are we going to do to make that better? Well, you know what he does? He goes out there and he says, you know what? The losers, you can still get 25,000, but let's take the winners and bump it up to 100,000. Now you got a $75,000 difference between winning and losing. It might just be enough to motivate these guys to do what they should be doing, and that is going out and playing hard during the All-Star game, putting it all out on the court. And so I'm excited about seeing how that difference is going to play out on the court. I'm excited to see maybe some of these younger All-Stars, maybe like a Joel Embiid, might go out and play his ass off because he wants to show and he wants the dough. Who knows? What are we going to get out of these guys? But what I always look forward to more than the game itself is the three-point contest and the dunk contest. And I know in years past, a lot of people were throwing shade out there saying, you know, the dunk contest isn't quite what it used to be. And I have to agree with that. The old days when it was Dominique versus MJ, you can't beat that. I'm sorry, you're not going to beat that. Those were some of the best dunk contests ever. And when these big-time superstars that are here now, they should have, when they came into the league, they should have been in the dunk contest. Namely, LeBron James. They call him the king, but I'm sorry, you cannot be the king unless you wear the crown at the slam dunk contest. So LeBron, you missed the boat on that. Now, some other superstars have done a good job. Blake Griffin came out. He did it. But I think what really brought the dunk contest back to relevance has been Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. Their battle 2 years ago was one of the best. It was MJ and Dominique-esque. It may not have been up there because MJ and Dominique were one of the best or two of the best players of all time. So it may never, ever live up to that same hype. It may never, ever live up to that. But it came pretty damn close. I mean, it was so close that the next year I was so looking forward to it, and I feel like Aaron Gordon kind of let us down a little bit. Now this year, Zach LaVine is not going to be in it again. He's coming off that injury. He's playing on a different team. He's got other priorities. But our boy over here for the Orlando Magic, he's going to be in it. And I'm expecting big things from AG. They call him Air Gordon. You don't get the name Air Gordon without having to put it out there on the court, without having to backflip, triple somersault, triple Lindy, whatever the hell he's going to do out there. I want to see some great action. If it's stuff on a hoverboard running over there and then him bouncing up and down, backflipping over and doing a triple dog dare slam, whatever it is, I want to see it, and that's what is going to be most enjoyable for me is that Saturday night, those competitions. I'm not so much with this dribbling and assist, the point guard competition. I'm not sure if I'm such a big fan of that. But the three-point contest and the slam dunk contest, both of those are so good. Wait a second here. I just got in some breaking news. Breaking news. It is being reported from Adrian Wojciechowski that Blake Griffin is going to the Pistons. What? What is this all about? I'm going to have to look at this a little bit better here. I cannot believe it, but is this true? I'm looking at the fax machine right now, and it looks to be true. It looks to be true. This is unbelievable. So I'm going to get a little bit, few more details here about this trade, but this is kind of going to be a big deal. The Clippers are going to be getting Tobias Harris, old Orlando Magic guy that never quite panned out, which, you know, apparently he's not panning out in Detroit because they're trading him away. Avery Bradley, who is a great piece, and a first and second round draft pick. Man, this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. So Detroit Pistons trying to step up their game. I think they started out hot this year. They've kind of cooled off a little bit, and I think they need to make some waves. Stan Van Gundy, SVG, he's got to show that he is worth what they are paying him over there. They've made him the executive VP of player personnel and the coach and whatever, and he needs to win games. That's what the bottom line is. And one of the best ways of doing that is making a big trade. So guess what? Good job over there for Detroit, doing the dirty work, making the big trades, doing what you got to do to win. I like to see that. That's good stuff. All right, so talked about the NBA All-Star Game, talked a little bit about the NFL Pro Bowl. Good job, Roger Federer. XFL is back. Wait a second, XFL is back. Is there anybody else out there that may have been gone for several years that came back this weekend? That's right. Tiger Woods. Tiger is back and finishes around 3 under. So it was the first PGA tournament in the last 2 years that he actually finished the full weekend and finishes a great 3 under score. And he said he wasn't in any pain. So a lot of the problem he's had over the last few years, he's had a bad back. He's got a really aggressive swing. That aggressive swing is going to give him continued back pain. So if he doesn't learn how to control the swing and the pain management and his back problem and all of that, he may never play again. And it looks like he might have figured it out. And he didn't just figure it out. He figured it out and played good. He didn't play great. He didn't win the tournament, and nobody really even cares who won the tournament because you know what's driving up ratings in golf right now? Tiger Woods. Him just being back this past weekend at a PGA-sanctioned tournament, playing good, looking good, being out there is the best thing that could happen to golf. I think he's coming back. He's going to make a run for the Masters. I think he wants to win one more major. He wants to go out there and show the world what he is made of, and he's got something to prove. And I really, really hope that Tiger comes back and does what he needs to do. All right, so let's see. Super Bowl preview, right? We got this Super Bowl coming up. Eagles, Patriots. So I gave 5 reasons why Tawm Brady did not deserve to get another Super Bowl. He's too good looking. He's got a super hot supermodel wife. He's got a ton of money, and he's already got a bunch of rings. The dude does not need to win another Super Bowl. You got the Eagles who are coming in, a lot of hype. Carson Wentz goes down with that big injury, and then what? What do you got? Everybody says Nick Foles isn't the answer. Nick Foles isn't your guy that you need to go to. Nick Foles isn't going to take you to the promised land. And in the playoffs, Nick Foles has been the man. The Eagles' defense has played unbelievably behind defensive tackle Fletcher Cox, who is the best DT in the entire NFL. And some people will argue with me that Aaron Donald is better, but they're just two different guys. Aaron Donald is strong, a little bit leaner. Fletcher Cox is just like an immovable object. In the middle, the Eagles have got it figured out. And they also have some good play on the back end of the team. Ronald Darby was a good pickup from the Bills. Guys are looking good. I'm feeling the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm making a bold prediction. I believe the Eagles will win 35-31. And that is my bold prediction of the day. And that is where I'm going with that. College basketball, just going to throw out real quick. Marvin Bagley Jr. looks so good. He may be the first pick in the NBA draft. And our Orlando Magic might be the ones that get that first pick. So I'm looking forward to the Orlando Magic possibly getting the first pick in the draft for finally, after all of these years, tanking successfully. It took a lot for them to tank the way they've needed to. And finally, they do what they're supposed to do. And that's right. They got to tank the way they needed to tank. And I wish that they would have done this years ago. And unfortunately, it just never happened. All right, so that's the end of our show. I want to thank everybody for listening in. And wait a second. I have to do this for my DD who's not here tonight. I miss you, DD. I hope you're out there listening. But you typically do a little session of dad jokes. I'm not going to sing the theme song, but I am going to throw out a few dad jokes right here for you, DD. If you see a robbery at an Apple store, does that make you an eyewitness? What? Spring is here. I got so excited I wet my plants. Oh! Lastly, a ham sandwich walks into a bar and orders a beer. The bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve food here." All right, those were for DD. Those are cheesy. I don't do them as good as she does. You can send in the hate mail. You can hit me up at Kyle Scout Team on Twitter. You can also check us out at scoutteamradio.com. The Scout Team Radio Network can be found on Twitter at Scout Team Radio, on Instagram at Scout Team Radio, and on Facebook, Scout Team Radio. Check it all out. Check us out. Listen in. Subscribe on iTunes. We're also on 12ouncesportsradio.com, which is a live internet radio station. And this Wednesday, we've got Scout Team Sports coming out for our first live broadcast. Listen into that, please, at 12ouncesportsradio.com. It will be from 7:30 to 9 o'clock Wednesday night. This Scout is out.